Hello students, today we're going to look at 7.6, which is growth and decay, but there are a few things that you need to know before we get into actually the formulas. All that today is formulas, plugging stuff in. So I want to give you some variables and what they stand for, and then I'll give you some formulas. So the first thing that you need to write down is lowercase a, in this case, is the initial amount. Whether that be the initial amount of money that might be invested, or it could be the initial number of people in a population growth event, or initial number of anything, the initial amount is always going to be A. And then R is going to be the rate, which is always going to be given to me as a percent that I have to change to a decimal. Okay? The rate is always going to be given to me as a percent, and I have to change that to a decimal before I can plug it in. And then we have T, and T is time in years. So if you're given anything besides a number of years, like perhaps the number of months or the number of weeks, then you have to convert that to how many years it is. For instance, 6 months would be 0.5 years, so T would be 0.5. But the T has to be given in years. And then there's one more, and that's N. And this is only when we deal with compound interest. N is the number of times interest is compounded each year. So for instance, if it's compounded quarterly, then there are 4 quarters in the year, so N would be 4. If it's compounded monthly, well, there are 12 months in a year, so N would equal to 12. If it's compounded weekly, then that would be 52, because we usually say there are 52 weeks in a year. So as long as you know that A is the initial amount, R is the rate as a percent that you change to a decimal, T is the time in years, and N is the number of times the interest is compounded monthly, number of times interest is compounded in a year, then you can use all of these in the formulas that I'm going to give to you in just a second. The formula that we would use to find an exponential growth situation is y equals A, which is the initial amount, times the quantity of 1 plus R, and R would be that rate, which is the percent that we change to a decimal, and 1 plus R is raised to the T power, and T again being time in years. So if you're given a situation, then you would find the initial amount, the rate, convert that to a decimal, and the time in years, and then just plug that amount into your calculator, and it will give you Y, which is the new amount. Now let's look at decay. Decay is somewhat the same, except in decay, we are subtracting the rate instead of adding it. So Y equals A times the quantity of 1 minus R raised to the T. These two formulas must be memorized. They will not be given to you on a test. You've got to know them. Growth, 1 plus R because we're growing. Decay, 1 minus R because we're getting less. Now, some of the words that you might think for growth were increase or investing. All of those are growth. Decay, the word that you're going to see most often, is depreciation. Depreciation means that something loses value, and so that would be a decay problem. And the last one that we want to look at is the formula for compound interest. Okay? With compound interest, tad different, same concept. The capital A is the new amount, okay? And so we're going to start with small a, which is the initial amount, or you might have learned it last year as P with the principal. It's the initial amount that's being invested in compound interest, times the quantity of 1 plus R over N, and you'll remember, N is the number of times it's compounded in a year, raised to the T times N. Initial amount, R being the rate over the N, which is the number of times it's compounded in a year, to the t times n, or number of years times the number of times it's compounded in the year. So if this was a quarterly, then I would have the rate over 4 raised to how many years times 4. And we'll get into using all of these in class. I just wanted to make sure you had the formulas written down so we don't have to use class time in order to give you that information. For your practice problem, there really isn't one. All I wanted you to do is to take a picture of all of those formulas and submit that through Edmodo, so I've seen that you've written them down and you actually do have them down in your composition book. Once again, take a picture of all of the formulas that you just wrote down and the A, R, T, and N. Take a picture of all of that and submit it through Edmodo so I can verify that you watched the video.